Hello, folks. It is the 19th of June, 2015. Today is my younger brother Patrick's birthday. So happy birthday, Patrick, even though you don't watch my videos. Let me finish up talking about my discography a little bit. Well, not finish up. Let me talk some more, okay? I like it. I like to know that people... I appreciate knowing when people enjoy the videos. I know that not all of my videos are enjoyable in the same way. And, you know, most of the videos I end them with a social commentary, if I feel it. Likely there'll be one today because of Charleston, you know. But I have just a couple more 7 inches in my discography. And I'm glad to share with folks that didn't know that I've been making music and making records for a long time. I did not make my first record as a result of being in the VC. The vinyl community enabled me to launch my own record label, you know, which at this point, the myths and realities, that's the last thing that I was able to do, and I'm not sure when I'll be able to really release another record. Right now I'm focusing on several things, actually. One of them is the job, you know, because that's reality, you know. I'm playing a lot in bands, but you know how it is for musicians on my level. You know, we get paid, but you can't live on it, even though I've been living on it because I live on little. So, where did we leave? I think I have just a couple more singles to show. Yeah, okay, here we go. So, back in the 80s, just like now, I was multitasking when it came to groups. Right now, I'm in 6 active bands, 7... And if I had to list all of the acts that I'm part of, it would be 8 different acts that I'm involved in. But back in the 80s, while I was, as well as working in, being in, you know, having the band Digital Sex, being in RAF, being a member of Disco Ranch, I was also in a band called the High Voltage Jammers, run by a friend of mine named Greg Hand, who also had a rock band called King Cobra. Now, when they went to record their single, their EP, Think Fast, this is a 4-song, 33 EP, the drummer of the band couldn't do the recording. I forget the circumstances. It was something kind of odd. It was. Because the drummer is still listed on the back as a band member. I'm credited, but... I wonder if this band actually ever played any gigs, but it was interesting. This is hard rock. I don't know if I call it hard rock. I'm going to put a little bit of this on, okay? But I played drums on this. And this is about 1985 as well. No, see? 1983. All right. So let's see. And this might skip. Hard rock me doing the drums. That's my friend Greg singing, playing bass. These are songs. So that was 1983. Actually, my friend Greg just moved back to Omaha and supposed to get together later today, actually. So. But here's another one from my discography, King Cobra, Think Fast. And this one was, again, a small run of records. I have, you know, in the past I've had people from Europe in particular get a hold of me. I don't. Somehow this record got heard about in Germany, and I had a couple of collectors contact me through email trying to find copies of this in the past. Greg doesn't have any more copies, so wherever the copies of the record are, we don't know. Something else I wanted to add, just for fun, I guess it's fun for me to say, and a bit of trivia, is that in the past, when I had an opportunity to do so, I would give copies of my record to people when I had an opportunity to meet them. So, some people who I've given the record to, who may or may not still have these in their collection, are Philip Glass has copies of both of these. Philip Glass does. Todd Rundgren has a copy. Laurie Anderson has a copy of the Digital Sex 45. Jello Biafra has this. Pete Buck of REM, I know, still has this. He says he cherished, like I said, we hung out a few times. And he's a collector like me and us. He says he cherishes stuff like this that he gets directly from artists. So Pete Buck of REM still has my record. There's more, but I wanted to share that those are some folks whose names some of you may recognize who own copies of these records. There's more. I can't remember right off the head. I tried to get copies to Prince, and his security just broke them in front of me. Oh, sure, we'll give these to Prince, and just broke them up in front of my face. Really nice, guys. Thanks. With that in mind, actually last night here in Omaha at one of the local taverns was a Prince tribute night. A bunch of local artists participated. Actually, there was a band from Chicago that participated. But I did a set, and one of my songs was off of the Gold Experience. I did 319 by Prince. And unfortunately, no video was taken of my set. I did pretty good, judging from how I feel, as well as, the audience response. It was fun. Okay, so there was King Cobra, 1983. Just a few more. The next single that I put out didn't happen until the 2000s. And I believe this happened in 2007. Brian Day is a friend who I don't see much because he's on the West Coast now, but used to live in the Midwest, and he has a record label called Public Eyesore. It's not well known, but it is known around the world, particularly in circles of artists and musicians that do avant-garde, noise, instrument makers. Brian himself is an instrument maker and has studied with Pauline Oliveros, among others. I love dropping names. Anyway, he endeavored to co-release a single collaboration I did with another noise artist out of Florida named Dino Felipe. D&D is the record that we did. Now, I've never met Dino in person, but I had some of his music before I contacted him, and it just felt like I contacted him and said, "You want to do something?" And it just felt right, and he said yes, and it really worked. This is soundscape. One side is a bit Fred Frithy, the other one is more ambient. It's like one side I take the lead, the other side Dino takes the lead. 2007. I have copies of this available. On my blog site, there is a link to if you want to get one of these, and it's also on pink marble vinyl. This was pressed by United Pressing, and they're all different. So I've kept a few copies. This is a dark one. Do I have another one that I can show you? That's a test pressing, but they come out. Yeah, they came out. So that one was kind of, well, these are both are kind of dark, but some are really pink as well. So that's another tone poem, and it's like I'll put Ribbons on in the background. Ribbons is actually also on it on Dereck 3? I think it's on Dereck 3. I'd have to look. Ambient in the background. Excuse me. D&D. The next single that I was a part of was this split single put out by Indrima, Conduits, Icky Blossoms. This was the first time you heard of Icky Blossoms and Touch People. So we went in on a four-way split on this, four-way split double single. And so one side, yeah, this is a good one. These are all gone. Icky Blossoms on one side, Touch People, Indrima on one side, and Conduits. I dare say that this, in the long run, is going to be pretty collectible. When I helped put this out, I just somehow messed up and sent out a couple of copies of this where the records were the same. So I know that I have at least one of these incomplete, sitting around. But complete ones of these, I think you'd have to look on eBay or Discogs to see if anyone has any for sale. But this is good. Indrima, Conduits, Icky Blossoms, and Touch People. Excuse me. Another project that I was a part of, I think this was about 2005, I forget, but Dave Matesiak from Atlanta, Georgia, lived in Omaha for a while and did an artist residency here. And part of the residency that he did was to put together this 7-inch single box set, although it's not actually in a box, it's in a package, but the telephono is the project. And the idea was to start a track with Dave. Well, the idea was to approach the collaborations like the game of telephone. And so it was the concept. I don't know if it necessarily figures into what ended up happening on here, but this is a very interesting collection of musicians that David collaborated with. Nice package here. You get a CD as well. So some of the people on here besides myself, here's the single that I participated on. One side is me and Dave. On the other side is David collaborating with Nick from Indrima and Icky Blossoms and Jonas Bier from Mew. Can you see his name? J. Bier. And then the Tutungian guy and the Warfield people have backgrounds that I don't remember right away. But this track was an example of what he wanted to achieve. He would start the track, send it to one person, that person would add something and send it to another person, and then they would send it back to Dave completed, or when they were done with it. But besides myself, those guys are on here. Let's see. Eli Marduk, Mike Kinsella, was he in a band called American Football Club or something like that? Jason Lowenstein from, what is that band that Jason Lowenstein was in? Can't call it right now. I saw him with Fiery Furnaces, but he does a side here. Tim Casher from Cursive, Mason Brown, Brain Worlds, Jordan Noel, and then some of these, Clark Bakley from The Faint also, Teal Gardner, and then some of these, Nick White from Tilly in the Wall. Obviously all friends of David that he collaborated with, but this is pretty interesting actually. I'll be honest that my side is one of the least interesting sides of these collaborations. It's a tone poem. It's not a complete mess, but there's a couple sides in here that are really good. And if you collect Mew, I know some people in the past have balked at buying this to complete their Mew collections because this is a collector's item, so you can't get it cheap. But Coco Art is the label. If you're interested, look this up online. You can find it. So that is, as best I can think, is the extent of the 7-inch part of my discography. Years ago, I did another video where I went through my discography. Probably went through it rather quickly, wanting to show my records and yet at the same time being slightly self-conscious about pointing the finger at myself. But you know, that's just human nature. We do want attention, and we do want people to know about what we do. We do want people to like what we do. Sometimes I try to remember comments and respond to them, but I'm getting a brain fart right now. So, some other records that, because I haven't talked about too much otherwise, that I've actually played was yesterday I listened to one side of this, Spot the Pigeon by Genesis, Match of the Day, and Pigeons. I love this band. I love this band. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about this band. I love this music. It doesn't matter to me that a person can make fun of them. So what? What does it have to do with my appreciation of the music that someone else can have the opinion that it's pop trash? So what? It's the same as me. I have that opinion about other music that I think is trash that others like. So what? So what if I think that? So what? You know? That'd be a healthier response than getting all worked up about somebody having a different opinion. Soft Verdict. Struggle for Pleasure. This is the music of Wim Mertens on the Discrepuscule label. Pulled this. Hadn't played it in a while. This is wonderful. The music is instrumental. Veers at times between what Philip Glass does or Steve Reich, but he has his own. It's almost like modern classical, but with that, with an edge. This is really good. Soft Verdict. Ornette Coleman's been popping up in my listening quite a bit since his death. So I played this Charlie Hayden album, Closeness. Duets. One with Ornette Coleman, 2 with Alice Coltrane, and 1 with Keith Jarrett. The Alice Coltrane is what really stands out to me on here, but the Ornette Coleman duet is really hot because they understand each other. Charlie Hayden, who has passed and lived in Omaha for a time. Wonderful musician. Truly an underappreciated and underwritten about jazz legend. He played with so much feeling and so much soul. Charlie Hayden. Closeness. Fantastic. This is something that I pulled to play that it's political, and so I keep it, but I can't listen to it because it's marching music, and it's like, but it's got people on it that I really respect. Heiner Goebbels and Alfred Harth are part of this group, La Casa de Banda de la Sinistra Revolucionaria. And I understand that this was recorded live at some sort of demonstration or gathering. But it's like, really for me, I don't like marching music. And so when I played this the other day, I just tried to listen as much as I could, getting into the spirit of understanding that they were trying to do something with this music. And so even though I don't really like this is one I keep, and I value it for it. You know, it has a purpose beyond just being something nice to listen to. They were actually trying to use the music for something. I appreciate that. some pop music. Cafe Jacques, 1977. I think this was an English band. They came to my attention because of Phil Collins of Genesis. Hyping them, the record company probably jumped on the fact that Phil Collins plays some percussion on here. Phil Collins likes the band, and so they used a quote from Phil in the press, which is how I heard about this band. And they're nothing like Genesis, but it's good. It's good. It's adult pop, a lot of love songs, really interesting songwriting though. You know, I like good songs. The other thing about the band is there's a brother in the band. He plays the drums, but when you hear the record, you think, I thought it was the brother singing, because the cat that is singing, this guy here, has a cool voice, one of those voices that you look for. It's like, kind of like Peter Gabriel. It's like, is he black? Is he white? It's like, wow, it's a good voice, good band. Cafe Jacques. Around the back. I also have their second album, International. I haven't played this. I just pulled it because I was talking about it online. I remember liking this one better than this, but I have them both. More as a result of talk on the internet, vinyl community. Billy Cobham, George Duke Band. Live. I think it's not really live, or maybe some of it's live, but this is a great album, a great collaboration between those guys. A little more personal trivia. When I played in the band with my dad and my brothers, we covered the first track on side 2 of this, Do What You Wanna. And we played it just like the album. You know, we could do it. I was on the drums. It's a good album. Nectar, Journey to the Center of the Eye. This is an original 1971 Belaphon copy, German pressing. Great psychedelic rock band. Some English and Americans who moved to Germany, I understand, and got things going in Germany. Nectar, good album. This is excellent in my opinion, and then the cover doesn't look cheesy to me. David Sequoia Flynn thought that the cover looked kind of cheesy. Elvin Jones' Genesis released this in 1971. I rather liked the cover myself. Was quite drawn to it when I first saw it years ago, and as a cutout and bought it. But the first track on here is just awesome to me. Pee Phoenix with Dave Liebman. I'd play it, but, you know, I don't have the rights. Curtis Simpson, it turns out, from the VC, sent this to me. Moon Griffin, I love this. This is really good. Real good. This is just what I like. Man, this is good. Look at new recording too, new release, 2015. Moon Griffin, check this out. Jukka Talonen, I believe from Finland, guitarist, was for a while in the band Wigwam, also was in the band Tasavalon Presidenti. This is one of his solo albums from the 70s, Cross Section. Love this album. A good example of what I call music to live by. It's instrumental for the most part. There is one track on here where the singer from Tasavalon Presidenti guests, so it sounds like the band Tasavalon Presidenti. There's a progginess to this as well as a jazziness. I really like. Thank goodness I know what I like, because since I can't buy a lot of records, and that is one of the things that I say, again, has got me not watching videos like I used to, because it just makes me crazy. You know, I see people buying all these records, and I can't do it. That's what it just makes me want to buy. So sorry, guys, I'm not watching more videos. That's why. Illusion, Isotope. Guitarist Gary Boyle. Hugh Hopper from Soft Machine was the bass player. Really wonderful fusion. Yeah, it's like this has actually gotten better over time. I thought it was kind of so-so when it first came out. And what they were doing, their vision is really, over time, has revealed itself. It's like, yeah, this band was top rate. Some Brazilian music. Flora Purim, 500 Miles High. This is a live album. Fantastic vibrations, rhythms, the woman's voice. It pops and crackles with energy. Flora Purim. 500 Miles High, live at Montreux. Fantastic. Here's one that I have kind of lambasted in the past, but I played it this last week, and it's like, yeah, okay, I see. This is good, and he's always been good. This is the Great White Cane. This is a band fronted by Rick James in the hat before he became famous. He wrote most of the music on here. It's a white label promo. These aren't, you can find these cheap die cut cover and everything. I remember some of you will remember that I talked about this in a video past where I pointed out the obvious reference to cocaine already. He's not even a star, and look what he's referencing in the name of the band and the cover. It's very obvious to those who are experienced that this is a cocaine reference, the Great White Cane. This is pretty funky. You can hear that Rick James is very talented on this album. Last thing I'll show, I was playing this because I've gone through periods of just not wanting to like David Bowie just because of things going on inside of me. But I love this album, Diamond Dogs. I remember when it came out, a very good friend of mine, Tim, he was one of my best friends in high school, used to spend the night at his house all the time. When he came out of the closet, it'll seem really naive, but I had no idea. We were very close, and when I look back, it's like, well, Dereck, it was really obvious. But that, really what that says is about the nature of our friendship. We were friends. He was my friend, you know. I wasn't thinking about him. He's my friend. But anyway, that was how I first encountered Diamond Dogs, was through my friend Tim, as he's coming out, and he was really flaming, you know what I mean, how some gay men have a lot of affectations. It seems to be part of what you're feeling as a person. That's why I know I'm not gay, even though I tried to be gay. I did try and check it out because it is part of our repertoire of what we can be. That definitely isn't me. And so that really kind of turned me off to this album for a long time. Played it a few days ago, and this is just killer. It's like there's a futurism to it. Not all the way through, but the way he sets it up, it's like this is really good. And this is the one that's airbrushed. I don't have a collectible one where you see the dog's penis like I would really want to see it. Okay. So the video's a long one. I do have to just take a few minutes to express however worthless my words are. I say them because I'm able to, and so I will. There's everything about what's going on in this nation this year, as well as globally, especially in America with race, to me is just very calculated. When I was a child, racism was the standard here in the Midwest. And so it was common talk. And it was written about, I can't remember the sources, but it was common talk back in the 60s, going into the 70s, that there would eventually be a race war. That this was just destined to happen. I remember at a point when I graduated from high school in my early 20s where I thought, oh, we're going to beat this. We're not going to have this race war that was predicted, not necessarily predicted, more like it's part of a plan, and that's how it was put. That's how it was presented. I can't remember the sources, folks, but I'm telling you, as a young black man back in my youth, it was made plain to me that America was going to have a race war eventually. So apparently someone or some group or somebody or somehow, it's in the cards that we have to be being pushed. And I say we are being pushed into this race situation. So many aspects of how this is going down, how everything is going down. The complete imbalance and injustice of how black people are being handled by authorities. I mean, just look at the contrast. Don't give me anything about how he didn't resist arrest. That's avoiding the point by trying to focus on that one little thing. The larger picture is there is an imbalance in the way that a person of my color is handled by authorities. It's not a perception, it's happening. And it appears to me from my point of view, and because of my experience with a lot of things, my personal life, my job, working in the mental health system, all kinds of things, that this indeed is being perpetrated or encouraged. It's like, yeah, this chaos is good, we want it. Some people are profiting from this. And so to me, it's like we're set up, It's like one of the things I'll say again, I hope I can say it, maybe I've said it before, but let me see if I can get this out. If the media in America was truly free, which it is not, if it truly was a voice for the people, which it is not, at this point with the chaos and the madness happening in the country, if I had control of any part of the media, I would be using it to try to be sending a new message. I would stop using all these labels, worshipers in the church, looters, thugs, because everyone thinks in little pop culture chunks in their heads and have really short attention spans. I am aware of how the media know full well how they manipulate many people's perceptions by the words they use, the way they set up images, the things that they focus on. How sad that our president has to use the Charleston thing not to focus on human issues, but on politics. Guns, that's not the issue. Guns is not the issue. I dare say that anyone else that is looking at things knows the issue is not guns. It's not. It's part of the sickness. It's a symptom. So it just really appears, that the people that we can, that are, it's obvious who they are, but when you say who they are, it's like, well, the game is so well underplay that people, when they're told the truth, it's like, oh, no, that's not it. They wouldn't do that. And so it continues. But to me, it's obvious that the wealthy are profiting from our misery, and I think it's necessary to just kind of just say that, it's like, think about it, people. Some of you folks that your life is such that these issues don't impact you like they're impacting me. It's like, it means really nothing to you. Think about what I'm trying to say. Look at the events of the world, Look at how consistently over the decades we have politicians and leaders talking about, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to see this, and how consistently none of it ever comes to play. Things just continue to atrophy. Look at that, We're in such a state of denial. That's why I talk like this. It's like, I know it from personal experience. I put things off, as a human being. I don't do everything right. I'm a homeowner. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. I put things off, so I know what I'm talking about being a human, okay? I'm busting us. I'm busting me as well as the rest of us. Our denial of our situation, it's what we're doing, okay? We're in denial. And I forget where I saw this or heard this, but it's kind of like one of the big jobs that's going on with leaders nowadays is not that they're fixing anything, but that they know that everything is completely screwed, and their whole job is to just keep convincing us that they have things under control. And people are buying it.